final item of business today is a members' business debate on motion number 8445 in the name of Alec Johnson on the Arbroath Cafe project. This debate will be concluded without any questions being put, and I would be grateful if the members who wish to speak in the debate could press the request to speak buttons now. Calling Alex Johnson to open the debate. 7 minutes, please, Mr Johnson.
Thank you very much, Deputy Presiding Officer. It gives me great pleasure to bring this debate on the Arbroath Cafe project to the Chamber this evening. In doing so, can I take the opportunity to welcome representatives of that organisation who are watching the proceedings from the gallery above. The Cafe project offers a comprehensive range of activities, opportunities and advice services for young people and those with disability. It is, in fact, the only large-scale activity-based drop-in facility of its kind in Angus. While time does not permit me to discuss the full range of services the Cafe project offers in depth, nor the many plaudits that have been won over the years, but some of the highlights are drop-in sessions, which run 4 nights per week, offering games, cooking, art and crafts, keep fit, guitar lessons, and are all run with an emphasis on developing skills and boosting confidence and self-esteem, as well as developing literacy and numeracy skills and promoting good sportsmanship and a healthy lifestyle. It also provides parents and toddler sessions, a darts academy coached by Scottish international player Alan Soutar, a chess club, an inter-school 5-a-side competition, a Get Set, Get Fit programme for 12 to 15-year-olds from disadvantaged backgrounds, and speed, agility and quickness sessions which provide tailor-made programmes for those with a disability and are designed to improve motor skill development. One of the activities that has gained substantial coverage over the years is street football, which is a portable pitch which can be set up almost anywhere and allows young people to form teams and have a game of football under appropriate supervision. Some members might even recall the visit of the street football to the Scottish Parliament a few years ago, when members were able to have a go themselves, playing football with some very enthusiastic and extremely energetic and skillful young footballers. The Cafe project's street football team actually came third in an extremely tough competition in the inaugural Street Football World Cup in Germany in 2006, winning the Fair Play Award in the same tournament. Something that, in my mind, speaks volumes for the many added benefits that young people receive when taking part in the Cafe project. Many of these activities take place in the Cafe project's own premises, but other venues include sports centres, local parks, woods, beaches, the golf course, theatres and cinemas. Like all excellent community organisations, the Cafe project does not work in isolation. Its holistic approach means that it engages with health visitors, criminal justice teams, the NHS, the police and fire service and the Jobs Centre, and local charities, to name but a few. All of these activities combine to offer a comprehensive service to young people that provides them with an alternative to hanging about on street corners and getting into trouble. It's a safe, alcohol-free environment which is highly valued by those who use it, and the partner organisations which also seek to help vulnerable youngsters, some of whom come from areas which appear in the index of multiple deprivation. Some might come from a domestic setting where alcohol abuse, drug abuse, domestic abuse can be a recurring feature of life. On average, around 650 people are helped by the Cafe project each year. But they're not just helped. They too play a pivotal role in how the project is run. They are consulted about activities, games, equipment and the standards of behaviour expected. The group can also decide on the content of their 10-week programmes, and equally important is the fact that they help ensure that the programmes are delivered on time and on budget. Crucially, they too are encouraged to volunteer their services to help the project, working behind the cafe bar or supervising youngsters or younger members. All of these things have made a hugely positive contribution to the lives of those who have participated, and consequently, local communities have also benefited. Norrie Steen, the founder of the CAFE project, tells me that it has made a significant impact on youth offending in the area. And who would know better than him, given his role for many years as local sheriff? We know that young people taking advantage of the programmes, advice and help available at the CAFE project are empowered to turn their backs on the life choices that will negatively impact their own opportunities. Such is the success of the CAFE project that it's now become a much-studied model that has been replicated throughout the UK. In Arbroath and Angus, it has become hugely important and a much-loved resource, valued by all who are kept up to date with its activities through the local press. However, like many charitable organisations, funding the project is becoming more challenging. The community have rallied round and have been extremely generous, ensuring that the good work continues until at least next year. The CAFE project itself has responded well, rationalising its business plan and cutting costs wherever possible. The fact that the CAFE project, although a small charitable organisation in comparison with some others, punches well above its weight in terms of activity and outcomes, and we need to see this good work continue. In conclusion, Presiding Officer, I look forward to hearing the other contributions to this debate, and I commend the hard work and the outstanding achievements of this invaluable organisation and look forward to seeing it progress in the future. I move the motion in my name.
Many thanks. I call Anne McTaggart to be followed by Graham Day. Speeches of 4 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Presiding Officer, I'm very happy to contribute to Alec Johnson's members' business debate regarding the CAFE project in Arbroath. I am especially keen to take part in this debate to promote the value of community projects, having previously worked in a community learning development environment in both rural and urban locations across Scotland. It is my view that the Arbroath CAFE project is a first-class example of community learning and development in action. This commendable social enterprise offers young people in Fife opportunities to participate in a variety of activities. I understand that the formal aspects of the provision includes training for employment, health, guidance and citizenship education. I am happy to note that the endeavours of the Arbroath CAFE project have achieved national and international recognition for its achievements in providing a comprehensive alternative to alcohol and drug use and the subsequent involvement in criminal activities, which for some young people can so easily result. Presiding Officer, the subject of developing programmes for alternatives to drug and alcohol misuse is a subject close dear to my heart. Having previously worked in these fields in the voluntary and statutory sectors, as I was fortunate to gain extremely valuable experience as an addiction counsellor in Glasgow. As a consequence, I am very aware of the challenges that workers in the field of alcohol and drug misuse face, especially working with young people. I am aware that all those involved in supporting the Arbroath CAFE project have striven and worked hard to seek the funding required to maintain these types of services it provides for young people, a goal which all those involved achieved through generating donations, hosting fundraising events and through sourcing various grants for which they were eligible. A task in itself, Presiding Officer, for which they should be commended. I would like to take this opportunity putting forward a suggestion, if I may, in terms of utilising the experience of the Arbroath CAFE project. Here again, I would like to draw on my experience, which I mentioned at the beginning, having worked in community learning and development in both formal and informal sectors. The Arbroath CAFE project brings together the two elements, community learning and development, those being youth work and adult education, in a supplementary and complementary fashion. In this way, it is an example of community development which, in my opinion, would lend easily to being peer education. Peer education in this situation being a process whereby the valuable experience and skills gained can be disseminated to similar groups and organisations across Scotland. In concluding, Presiding Officer, Arbroath Cafe project, in my opinion, is a model which could be replicated across the country through highlighting it as a template of good practice and best practice, utilising a peer education approach.
Many thanks. I now call Graham Day to be followed by Richard Baker.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Some months ago, I visited Inverbrothick Primary School in Arbroath to give a talk to P6 pupils on the life of an MSP and the work of Parliament. Having, I thought, fired their imagination and enthusiasm, I invited questions. Upshot the first hand. But the young lady in question didn't want to explore the workings of Parliament or ask anything remotely connected with the role of a constituency MSP. She asked simply, how can we save the cafe project? Put me in my place, even though I was able to explain that I'd been helping Sheriff Steen identify a number of possible funding sources that might be explored. The kids, and there were several that emerged, were deeply concerned about the threat to the project, and they sat and they outlined some fundraising ideas of their own that they thought could assist in securing its future. I tell this story, Presiding Officer, simply to illustrate just how much the cafe project means to those who use it. After 17 years, I think we, those of us who live and work in Arbroath, have become so used to it being there that we've come to take it for granted, perhaps. The revelation that children in need would call a halt to providing funding, with all the potential consequences that threatened, was a wake-up call. My most recent visit was on a night given over to providing activities for youngsters and adults with learning difficulties. Some were there with carers, but the project is proud of the fact that a significant number of the participants eventually develop the confidence to attend on their own, which of course has the benefit of giving the carers a wee respite as well. As Alec Johnson has already highlighted, the project does so much more than that. 4 evenings a week, it offers drop-in sessions for P4s to P6s, then S1s to S4s, with a range of activities which help develop skills and an emphasis on healthy living and good citizenship. There are tea time clubs 2 afternoons a week and a holiday club which runs 3 afternoons a week. The P7 active boys and girls groups welcome many youngsters who are in care or under supervision. There are a parents and toddlers group, an Alan Suiter's Darts Academy and a chess club. Additionally, Job Centre staff are there once a month to advise and assist young people into work. All told, it's estimated that 650 young people annually benefit from the work of the cafe project, and that is why it's so important that a means is found to ensure its survival beyond July. Missing out on the extension of funding from children in need for a 13th year was undoubtedly a blow, but the cafe project wasn't unique in that, with 9 out of 10 applications to children in need being unsuccessful. These are, as Alec Johnson said, difficult times for charities, and competition for funding is fierce. But I understand the cafe project is planning to knock children in need's door again quite soon, and I wish them well in that. And can I welcome Angus Council's renewed engagement with the project, which I understand will lead to the Council assisting in the preparation of grant applications and with energy efficiency measures to help drive down the overheads created by the age of the building at Brothick Bridge. Presiding Officer, can I, in concluding, pay tribute to Sheriff Norrie Steen, the project's founder, who's in the gallery tonight? Mike Weir MP and I have a meeting with Sheriff Steen this coming Sunday for an update on the progress being made to securing the long-term future of the project. We're going to be grabbing a coffee in the cafe of Morrison's in Arbroath. The Sheriff Steen will be there participating in a bag pack to raise funds for the project. I think we'll be chatting almost on the run, as it were. Sheriff Steen is a remarkable man whose contribution to the town and its surroundings was recognised relatively recently with the naming of a street in his honour. The cafe project is an equally remarkable Arbroath institution. Can I wish both a long and prosperous future and congratulate Alec Johnson for giving us this opportunity to note all that the cafe project has achieved.
Many thanks, and I now call Richard Baker.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Firstly, can I congratulate Alec Johnson on securing this debate, because it gives us a chance to reflect on what is a successful and important project, not just for the Arbroath area, but in its influence and in the innovative work it's done, indeed throughout the whole of Scotland as well. It's provided support to some of those in the local community in Arbroath who most need our support, who most need the support of our services, and in helping young people from challenging backgrounds, and, as has been said already, providing the only large-scale activity-based drop-in centre for young people and for those with disabilities in Angus. I recall visiting the Cafe project in 2007 during the election campaign that year with Jack McConnell, who was then First Minister, and indeed with Cathy Jameson, who was then Justice Secretary. And there we heard all about the good work the Cafe project does. We saw the facilities provided at the centre. We met the young people who were using those facilities, who clearly found them invaluable themselves and made a big difference to their lives, who otherwise would not have had a huge amount to do in many instances. And it was clear it just played an extremely important role in the local community. But members may also recall that in that election campaign, the issue of antisocial behaviour was particularly to the fore. And one of the benefits of the work of the Cafe project has been that it's offered some of those young people who might most be at risk of being involved in antisocial behaviour alternative activities. So it's benefited the wider community, not just the young people themselves. But also, it's not just offered them activities and the social and leisure activities Mr Johnson referred to, but it's also provided them skills through work placements, through volunteering, through their work with the job centre, and indeed it's offered health advice as well. So it's providing a whole range of absolutely essential services to young people and to other individuals and families in the area as well. And can I say why that project and that visit has remained so clearly in my memory? Isn't just meeting the young people who clearly valued the work of the project so much, but also meeting Sheriff Maurice Dean, as Mr Day has said, whose enthusiasm for this work, for this mission to provide this much-needed support to young people in this area is absolutely infectious. And I'm sure it's quite clear today as well it's something that helps galvanise the whole community around this work. And I know that this determination was born from Sheriff Dean's experience of meeting young people, unfortunately through court process, through his work as a sheriff, who hadn't had the opportunities provided by a project like Arbroath Cafe. And as Alec Johnson said, you know, this is providing young people in the Arbroath area with the opportunities to lead far more productive lives, not just at that point in their lives as young people, but in the future as well. And so the benefits we have from this project lie many years into the future too. And it's not just locally, as Mr Johnson said, through its innovative and successful street football project, it supported young people and communities not only in Arbroath or indeed in the North East, but throughout Scotland as well. And hundreds of communities now have benefited from the pioneering approach of the Arbroath Cafe project. Clearly, as has been said, at this time the project needs our support more than ever. And so I do hope the Minister will reflect on what she's heard tonight, reflect for the huge support that the project has in the community and in this chamber as well, and that ministers will do all they can to support the Arbroath Cafe project so it can continue to play its vital role in the community for very many years to come.
Many thanks. I can now invite Aileen Campbell to respond to the debate. Minister, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And like Alec and I think Graham, I want to welcome the Youth Cafe members to the Parliament this evening as well. Now, yesterday we had the opportunity to discuss in this chamber the immensely invaluable work done by YouthLink and the youth work sector as a whole. And all those who contributed yesterday recognised how important it is that we give time, commitment and care to helping our young people live the most fulfilling lives they can and reach their full potential. And that is the essence of good youth work, the focused, passionate commitment to giving young people the chance to make the most of their lives. So I'm therefore grateful, Presiding Officer, that Alec Johnson has brought the example of the Arbroath Cafe project to the attention of this chamber. He has, in his opening speech, given us a very vivid picture of the project's work and its impact not only on the young people who benefit from the project, but also on the wider community. And it's also good to learn, I think, this evening about a Scottish football success story in a World Cup, which I think is very unusual and something we should celebrate. Now, the breadth of activities the Cafe provides is impressive. Not only does it provide that all-important drop-in centre for young people to find a safe and welcoming environment in the community, but is the base for a number of projects that provide real development opportunities, particularly for those youngsters who are facing some difficulties or serious challenge in their life. And as Graham Day described, it is clear that this project has a very dear place in Arbroath's heart. And the number of people it helps, as outlined by Alec, by Richard and by Graham, is very impressive. It also provides the base for connections into the wider community. by hosting other projects such as the Mother and Toddler Group and an employability drop-in service in conjunction with the local job centre. And those connections are considerable. According to the local Evening Telly, the project works with health visitors, social workers, criminal justice offender services, nurses, police and firefighters, parents, carers, teachers, Angus Council Community Learning and Development, Angus Council Recreational Team for People with Disability, the Job Centre, local businesses, Round Table, Rotary Clubs and the Royal British Legion and churches, to name just a few. In this way, projects such as the Arbroath Cafe project embody so many of the principles that we talk about in abstract terms here in the Chamber and in wider political discourse. Because we often talk about prevention and early intervention, and projects such as these are perfect examples of prevention and early intervention in practice. As Anne McTaggart commented on, by providing positive channels for the energy and enthusiasm of young people, these projects divert them from finding less constructive activities, even where the temptations and opportunities to do so are strong. And as the founder of the project, former Sheriff Norrie Steen, has said, a man, I think, judging by the comments from Richard, from Alec and from Graham, a man who's clearly left a mark on all of those MSPs after they've described his passion and his leadership. Norrie Steen said, "The Cafe project has changed people's lives. There's no question about that. It was very rare to see anybody with a connection to the Cafe project appear in court, thereby breaking a family tradition in some cases." So we know that early intervention and diversion works. The whole system's approach to youth justice has played a major contribution to the significant decline in youth offending over the past few years, and it appears that the Arbroath Cafe is doing that well and truly in practice. We also talk about the idea of well-being. And in Angus Council, I know they've developed the Wellbeing Web, and that's been used right across Scotland. And so it's a good time for us to stop and reflect on how many of the Shannary Wellbeing indicators a project such as this achieves. It provides a safe environment free from some of the more corrupting and destructive influences that can bear on young people as they reach their teenage years. It promotes healthy and active living, seeking to harness young people's energy through sports-related activities. By providing services for the more disadvantaged youngsters and promoting volunteering, it's all about nurture, responsibility and inclusion. And these projects thrive on the respect that it affords young people and the respect that the project gets in return. We also in the Chamber often talk about an asset-based approach. And we know that the best way to secure the long-term improvements in life chances that we want to see is through the building up and the strengthening of people and their local communities. In the long run, it's not about treating young people's needs, but about giving them and their families the strength, the resilience and the opportunity to tackle life's challenges. And that's true of communities too. Locally based initiatives designed to meet local needs and drawing on the inspiration and the undoubted commitment of local people are at the core of that approach. And we often talk about multi-agency collaboration. The list of those who the project work with is clear evidence that all the agencies involved in helping and supporting young people work best when they're brought together and work together. Now, it's clear that I understand that there's clear issues around some of the funding uncertainty, and that's been clear as well within the local reports from the press. And I'm aware that the project has just secured funding of £3,000 from the Bank of Scotland Community Fund, which should secure its continuation until July next year. But I'm also told that Angus Council has since been offering the Cafe financial and other sorts of advice to help them become more sustainable and to look for funding from a range of different sources. I know that a number of potential funding organisations are willing to discuss the future with the organisation, and also that the Cafe has launched a public appeal. And I wish that project well in its efforts, and I hope that Graham Day does take part in that bagpacking that he described as well. But I think as well, as a government, we are keen to see that projects which do contribute to the well-being of young people and to local communities can be sustained as far as possible. And I made reference in yesterday's debate to the range of support that the government provides to youth work organisations and to the funding range of mechanisms by which they can seek support. And that includes cashback for communities, one example of a funding opportunity that I think this group should absolutely and very definitely pursue. So again, Presiding Officer, I'm sincerely grateful to Alec Johnson for bringing to the Chamber the Arbroath Cafe project, both as an example of the huge range and wealth of youth work projects across the country, and as a reminder of the challenges that we face in difficult times in maintaining the support that our young people need and deserve. I think it's also been clear from the very passionate contributions from Richard, from Graham and from Anne that we need to sing loudly about the talent and the commitment that youth workers make to our country and about the support that they give to our young people to allow them to go on to lead fulfilling lives. Certainly this CAFE project is undoubtedly a good example of that, and it's clear the respect that it's gathered from right across the political spectrum is testament to the work that they put in to ensure young people in Arbroath are given all the opportunities that they need and deserve in life. So thank you.
Thank you, Minister. That concludes Alec Johnson's members' business on the Arbroath CAFE project, and I now close this meeting of Parliament.